how can we help people get into scenarios and think for themselves, inside, a scenario framework, about the future. And that's how we came to the idea of developing a serious game. And what happened is that we took on board 2 experts from the University of Hawaii who were experts in gaming development. The game is designed to make people experience 2 contrasting scenarios. So here, just for the sake of simplicity, we're just going to use these scenarios, so the scenarios that derived from this study. And the logic that was used to develop these scenarios was to create 4 worlds according to the societal values, which were either individualistic or collaborative. That's a classic axis for scenario building. And the other axis being the fiscal framework, being either traditional, I would say black, or green. So a fiscal framework that would very much promote, sustainability. So essentially, at the start of the game, what we have to do is choose which 2 scenarios we're going to play. So we have to choose to play either a scenario which is collaborative with a fiscal framework which is quite traditional, and then a scenario which is individualistic but with a green fiscal framework, or we choose the scenario which is collaborative with a green fiscal framework, and then the scenario which is individualistic with a non-green fiscal framework. So you see the board is split into halves, more or less. So we're going to play the first scenario on this half, in 3 time horizons. These scenarios were made at 20-year horizon. And then the second scenario will be played there. So as a general context, I think it's very important, because we're going towards the future, to understand a few mega trends that are going to impact all scenarios anyway. We have decided to take 5 which we consider as really overarching. One is hyperconnection of society and of objects. Another classic is climate change. Another important factor is the millennials. So as time passes, more and more people come into positions of authority who've never known the world before internet. Urbanization, I think, is also something that should not be forgotten, because everybody thinks, developing countries when they hear the word urbanization, but urbanization is also affecting Europe. So do you have a good idea of who you want to be?
I'm a mother of 2 kids. I'm a city dweller. And as I have 2 kids for mobility, I want convenience, because I have to juggle around with kids and work, and I don't want to have too much.
My organization is Distribute. It's a transport company. Many distribution of parcels.
I'm the Minister of Transport for the Brussels region. I'm very popular in my political career.
I'm the Prime Minister of San Belgica. It's a small European country, and our long-term goal is become a more modern European country, a more sustainable country.
My organization is the Climate Coalition. It's an NGO. We are taking measures against climate change. So we're a platform of several environmental organizations.
I'm going to give to each of you 2 what we call real life cards. So you can look at them. So the idea is that these cards can be played usually at the end of every round, and every player can only play 1 card per round. Every time you have played 1 card, you just pick up another one to replace it for the next round, so that you can always, choose from 2. You have to follow the instructions and read what's written on the cards. So people will have to take individual, actions, and then you will support them by as many tokens as you want, depending on the resources that you have. Once everybody has played, then the public voice judges the actions taken by the other players. And as I was saying, for every round you have 10 red tokens that you can use. That's a maximum of 10. You don't have to use them all. So the way I prefer to play is to oblige you to put at least 1 token per person, because the scores are resulting from the multiplication of what you put and what the other people put on their actions. If you put 0, you can, I mean, let's say you have to be careful because a strict public voice could really disrupt quite a bit the game. So I think we're going to start the game. So we're today in May 2021. The weather is really warm.
Climate change.
And